I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, March the 3rd, brought to you in part by Talieve by Norbrook. A ready-to-use single-shot, low-volume dose Talieve is rapidly absorbed, delivering proven efficacy against a wide range of diseases. And unbreakable news, exclusively offered in plastic bottles, so you don't have to worry about breaking them. For more information on Talieve, go to norbrook.com. The next crop of feed, and that's what everybody's looking at now, and not so much worried about what your old crop corn is costing, what the nearby futures on corn are. Everybody's looking out for next year's crop. Would be very few feedlots that don't already have their corn secured to get them through until the next new crop comes in. And it's looking like it's going to be plenty of moisture to get it in. One thing about having lots of snow, it's been sitting out there for months in some major corn production areas, and it is slowly soaking in. If we continue to see this where we have some warm days and then it gets cool and then back and forth, and the way that snow melts, it will soak in every drop and get some deep soil moisture there, which would be great to get us at least through emergence on the next corn crop if we can get in there. But there's some areas that's going to have some snow that's so deep that it's going to get warm, and then we're going to have some flooding problems on that. But anytime you've got moisture, it's better than dry, and that's what we had to deal with last year, was dry. But if you look at your March corn sitting at 637 3/4, that sounds cheap after it's been flirting with $7 a bushel pretty much all fall and winter. And then you look off into December, the all-important December corn futures sitting at 570 1/2, and that starts to sound kind of reasonable after dealing with these high corn prices for a year or so now. But fertilizer is going to be some cheaper. It's still ridiculously high, but it has backed off just a little bit. It may coax farmers to put more fertilizer on. We've got heavy ethanol stocks. They've made a lot of that, and we've got good moisture. And you start looking at other places of the world. Corn is one thing that's pretty even in quality all around the world. And there's a wide range of estimates of the Brazilian corn harvest, which is coming along here pretty quick. And you're seeing some people thinking that it's going to be a whole lot better than what they had thought, and significantly better. But it's not just corn. Hay is something that we've gotten really short of, and we're likely at some of our tightest hay stockpiles that we've ever had. You simply can't find any hay in many spots in the southern plains. People just didn't have any of it. You couldn't buy it. You couldn't get it anywhere. And you may not be able to recognize that in your overall prices. Your hay producers are ones that usually do not gouge. If you gouge when hay supplies get tight, well, whenever hay supplies get plentiful, you're stuck with a lot of hay that you can't get rid of. And people remember that. And so a lot of times, I was talking to a hay producer just the other day, and I said, boy, you're liking this hay price. And he said, I just couldn't get up there where some of my neighbors and some of my peers were charging. He said, if guys got that short of hay and they told me, I'll give you this, I'll give you that, I'll give you $200 for a round bale of hay. Whoa, don't do that. If you need some, go ahead and take it. And I'll just charge you what I've always charged you for it. But I guarantee you, they'll remember him the next time whenever hay gets plentiful and guys are begging people to buy hay. But we've got plenty of moisture around in the major corn production areas. We could still use some more moisture in some places that graze cattle mostly, but your Midwest and your northern plains have had ample moisture. Currently we've got stormy weather, but impressive rains in and around Arkansas, southern Missouri, places like that that raise a lot of hay. and they also have a lot of cattle grazing in that area. Going to be ample hay on the west coast. They'll probably have enough hay right on the west coast to handle most of your Asian exports of hay. So we're looking pretty good, and we're very, very hopeful for next crop of feed coming across. And that hay deal we'll find out pretty quick. As early as May 1st, we'll start finding out how plentiful we've got of the hay and if it starts to back off a little bit. But right now, they're just hard to find any kind of hay, even to grind up and to put into rations or any kind of forage of any kind. I want to mention congratulations to Collins Cooper. She won the bronze overall champion steer at the Canadian County, Oklahoma Stock Show here this week. And if you look at this picture, you see the guy in the back behind the steer with the little scruffy beard. That's my friend John Cooper. He and his dad are auctioneers there at OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma. Now DV Auction broadcasters, and have been good friends of mine for a long time. And just wanted to mention that Collins, John's daughter and Dale's granddaughter, won the bronze champion there at for the overall steer show at Canadian County, Oklahoma. And to remind you guys that the premium sale for Canadian County Stock Show is Friday night. So if you wanted to get in or maybe put some add-ons on the Collins steer, that would be much appreciated. Let's talk about your board for Thursday. April live cattle futures are down $1.02 at 164.10. We're in a bastard month here. We're sitting in March. We don't have a live cattle contract, and they're going to jack with that spot contract for a while. Now you know as well as I do that 164.10 and being down $1 whenever your cash market is still going up, and we really haven't even established it yet, is a bunch of BS. But that's what they do when we get into bastard months, and you can just expect that until we get to the latter part of March, whenever things have to start tying true. June live cattle, get this, down $1.15 at 159.45. Now, we are going to hit some pressure here, some seasonal pressure in our fat cattle market, but I do not see fats getting under 160 as we're continuing to climb the ladder here. I think we're going to continue to climb the ladder, and I think we'll blow by the 173 all-time record high that we reached back in 2014. But I tell you what, right now, these few negotiated sellers we've got, they have got the cat by the tail, and they are showing a lot of strength here, especially in the Southern Plains, not selling those cattle and not taking steady bids, even slightly higher bids. They're going to demand the market that they want. Your back months on live cattle futures down 40 cents to down 95. March feeder cattle up 27 cents at 188.57. April unchanged at 193.85. Your back months on your feeder cattle down 17 to up 42. Look at March corn, it was down 2 3/4 cents. Like I said earlier, is at 637 3/4 at the end of regular trading on Thursday. December corn futures sitting at 570.5. March beans up 15.5 on Thursday at 1519 3/4. November was up 2, but sitting at 1367.5. Talk about your fat cattle trade. Did have a little bit more trade in the Northern Plains, but still nothing in the Southern Plains. It's been 2 weeks since we sold any cattle in the Southern Plains, and now they're just having a standoff. You know, who can blink the fastest? And no more guys than they are left in the Southern Plains that sell negotiated. I don't see any of them weakening. I think they're going to hold strong, and eventually these packers are going to be, they're going to be 2 weeks missing their 15 to 20% that they don't already have guaranteed to them through sweetheart deals. They're going to have to buy some cattle. But Iowa sells 2,300 head negotiated on Thursday, 10,400 only for the week. So they've got twice that much business to do here on Friday. And your market on live sales was 163 to mostly 165. That would be higher than last week. and dress sales at 262. Nebraska, only 600 head sold on Thursday, only 1,400 for the entire week. Now they'll sell 20,000 in Nebraska this week. It's all going to happen here on Friday. And I think I wouldn't see why they would take less than 165 or maybe 264. But live sales on Thursday were 164 to 165 in Nebraska. Dress sales 263. Most everybody I talked to wants 264. 264 dressed would trade a lot of cattle. Like I said, Southern Plains, nothing this week. They have not sold anything. Been 2 weeks since they sold anything. We're going to see who blinks the fastest. Talk to the guys in the Southern Plains. They want 166. 166 will trade cattle. Box beef cutout values higher on Thursday. Choice cuts up 67 cents at 288.50. Selects up 115 at 277.58. Your slaughter running pretty good, 501,000 through the first 4 days of the week, but we're not expecting a whole lot for Saturday, so it'll probably end up being a little disappointing. But that 501,000 was 23,000 better than this time last week, 1,000 less than the same week a year ago. Actual slaughter information for the week ending February 18th had your average dressed steer carcass weight at 906 pounds. Talk about what else is going on. We're having so much fun with the Punchy Pick of the Month contest. We're just getting picks in every day. It seems we get several punchy picks coming in. It's great to see people's kids and grandkids and all that kind of stuff. And we're seeing some really cool stuff out there. And we're glad that you guys are enjoying it too. Everybody seemed to enjoy the last pick we had a couple of visits ago for the Punchy Pick winners there. But don't forget, whenever you get a Punchy Pick, you have it on your phone, send it to punchy@nationalbeefwire.com. You know, it's better than don't email it to me or text it to me or messenger it to me. Send it to punchy@nationalbeefwire.com. I don't pick the Punchy Pick of the month winner. I get to see them, but I don't pick them. I do enough on these reports. I don't want that hanging over my head. But if you win the Punchy Pick of the Month contest, and we've had a couple of winners already, you get some cool stuff from Beaver County Stockyards and Beaver Feed of Beaver, Oklahoma. But you also get that full case of Ferapiece, the revolutionary product that's going to change this industry. I truly believe everybody I've talked to loves it. It's no residue, no withdrawal. Put it on with your bare hand over their muzzle and over their pole, and you see those cattle calm down. And it's just so much better whenever you're trying to wean them or move them or whatever you're trying to do. Even on finished fat cattle going to slaughter, it pretty much eliminates dark cutters on there. It's an amazing product. But if you want to learn more about that product, go to Feraah, which is FERAAH.com, and you can order it right there. Talk about your feeder cattle markets. Your real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Thursday sitting at 187.33. That's up 92 cents, and it's getting up there, guys. You think 187.33 on a cash 800 pounder? Hey, a lot of these 7 weights, it goes from 7 to 8.99. A lot of these 7 weights are bringing in the high 90s and the low $2, guys. That's what happens when you start getting a lot of those in there. But real-time index is leaving the CME cash feeder cattle index behind. We just cover so many more sales than they do. Talk about your big sales on Thursday. Winter livestock in Pratt, Kansas, 4,000 head for them. Interesting quote or trend, and I've told you how disgusted I am with Kansas market reporters that work for the Federal State Market News Service. They called the feeders steady to $3 lower. But they said, but if they were thin-fleshed and fancy, then they were $2 higher. And then you look at the quotes, and half of the cattle that they quoted, they had marked either thin or fancy. I think they just got off on the wrong foot. They got behind and didn't know what they were doing. And then it messed everything up. I tell you what, it would better be to say in the commentary that, you know, a lot of the cattle were in thin-fleshed or fancy quality condition, and the market was a little bit higher. Other than just pull the average quality or the below average quality cattle out and then compare the weighted averages and see that they're lower, no shit, they're going to be lower. I tell you what, market reporting is a lost art. We've got too many chiefs and not enough Indians in the Federal State Market News Service, and nobody uses a clipboard anymore and a worksheet the way that we were trained to use it, where you can see that information before you punch it into those little weighted average machines, and you just come out with a bunch of gobbledygook. But Pratt, Kansas sold stockers $3 to $6 higher. The market people didn't realize that they're called stockers. But I'll tell you about some stockers here that be running on the high side. 69 head, 767 pound steers bring $2 a pound, Pratt, Kansas. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas sells 4,000 head also, just straight north of Pratt there. Mostly $2 to $6 higher at their market. And saw a stick out deal on stockers at Salina. 93 head, 659 pound steers bring $228. Your Zowetta stick out sale of the day was Mitchell Livestock Marketing in Mitchell, South Dakota. 8,200 head there. You can view and bid that sale on dvauction.com. Feeder steers $2 higher. Feeder heifers $6 to $8 higher. Look at this automated market report from Cattle Market Central, and you see your best tested weights. 786 head of 6-weight steers, average 648. Weighted average price $213.29. Wow. 1,042 steers in the 7-weight category, average 757. Weighted average on all of those 197.78. Almost 1,150 head of 8-weight steers in Mitchell. They averaged 842 with a weighted average price of $187.71. Look at some of the heifers. 650 head of 6-weight heifers, average 662, weighted average price $187.03. 571 head of 7-weight heifers, average 746, average price $180.04, and 660 head of 8-weight heifers averaged $854, weighted average price on all those $172.75. Couple of really stick out individual quotes. How about Billings Livestock Commission in Billings, Montana? They sell 89 head of 520 pound steer calves at $278.50. Ooh, we're sneaking up on $3 on a 5-weight steer. Hadn't heard it yet. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, indeed come out of Mitchell Livestock Marketing, our Zowetta stick-out sale. They sell 90 head of 862 pound steers, heavy 8-weights at $195.10. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.